I don't know why we do this. I don't know why we allow sports or the teams that we root for to be so closely attached to our own mental health. It don't make no sense. This is a kid's game. Played by giant adults. Why do I care so much? I don't know, but it's bothering me that the Dallas Mavericks won the NBA lottery. Nothing really against Dallas. It's the other things. You know, going into the NBA draft lottery, as I do every single season, I'm really optimistic about the outcome for my Chicago Bulls. I know that we only have a 1.7% chance to jump up to the first overall pick, but I was alive in 2008. I was a fan in 2008 when we also had a 1.7% chance of jumping up and we drafted Derrick Rose. So I'm going to this lottery. I'm chilling, right? I'm eating my dinner. Spoiler alert, I have not touched this food. Since we found out who won the lottery, my whole appetite is gone, but I'll get to that. We get to it and it says the Chicago Bulls are picking 12th. I'm like, okay, cool. Not that big of a deal. Again, we're talking about a 1.7% chance. Yeah, it does suck, but it's not the end of the world. And then when they said the Dallas Mavericks have jumped into the top 4, I almost lost it. I could just feel the blood pressure go up. I could just feel. I'm like, Kenny, that's not that big of a deal. Let me explain to you why it is. Because the Chicago Bulls had the exact same record, and I promise this video is not all about the Bulls. I promise you that. The Chicago Bulls had the exact same record as the Dallas Mavericks. And they split the tiebreaker. So in order for the NBA to figure out who has a 1.7% chance and who has a 1.8% chance, they flip a coin. Literal 50-50 chance. The coin was flipped and landed on Dallas, which means that Dallas has a 1.8 and we have a 1.7. Not that big of a deal. We're talking about decimal points of a difference. That coin flip is the reason why we won't have Cooper Flag. That coin flip, that 50-50. And this is about to say something because I was around when Derrick Rose got injured. I have never felt this heartbroken as a fan. And listen, Cooper Flag might not even be all in the bag of chips. He might not be all in the bag of chips, but I have never been this heartbroken as a fan. To say that we had a 50-50 chance at this and didn't get it sucks. Because the Bulls suck and they're mediocre. And I can't help but to think about one of the coolest days as a Bulls fan in recent history. When Josh Giddey hit that shot on the Lakers, if he misses, guess what? We have Cooper Flag today. If he misses the half-court heave, a shot that is missed 97% of the time, 99% of the time. If he misses it, we have Cooper Flag. And I'm not blaming Josh Giddey for that. He's playing basketball at the end of the day. His goal is to win. But for it to end like that and for it to be like that is mind-blowing to me, man. It really does change the perspective and everything. Y'all remember when we were talking, when the Bulls were hot, if you will. We were talking about being a Pot A fan and a Pot B fan. Pot A fans care about the salary cap. They care about trades. They care about the lottery. They care about that. That's the fan I usually am. And then there's Pot B. That's like my favorite team wins. And we talked about how if you're Pot B, you probably are mentally stable. And if you're Pot A, then you probably aren't because you care too much about the randomness that is a sport. And then when the Bulls were doing the thing, I was in Pot B. Yeah, the Bulls look fun. I was an idiot. Idiot. Because we're picking at 12. A team that always picks between 7 and 12. And not being able to build a goddamn thing. And I was going to say this is like... I'm like losing my mind. And again, this is not about the Bulls. I promise you're going to get to the Dallas Mavericks and the Spurs and the 76ers and so on and so forth. But I want to remind you, what year is this? Is that the 2017 NBA draft? Let me double check that. 2017 NBA draft. Sorry for the text and stuff. A lot of stuff is going on right now. I'm sorry, not 2017. It was a year after that. 2018 NBA draft. The Bulls were in a tiebreaker. Same exact situation with the same exact team. A coin flip went up, and guess what? The Dallas Mavericks won, which means that they drafted Luka Doncic. Well, I mean, they make the trade for Luka Doncic. You get what I'm saying? So don't get in the coin flip with the Dallas Mavericks because they're going to win it every fucking time. I'm heartbroken. I'm telling you, bro, hopefully I'll be able to eat dinner, but I'm not expecting it right now. That's how heartbroken I really am. And then you can say to me, Kenny, the Bulls don't deserve to win the lottery. They're poorly ran. They have a terrible owner, so on and so forth. And I would say, you're probably right. You probably are right. This team has been a playing team for 100 years in a row. They probably don't deserve to get bailed out by having a generational talent. You are probably right. But you can't convince me that means that the Dallas Mavericks deserve it more. Nico Harrison is like, he just got dogged for a month straight. He probably will continue to get dogged for the rest of his professional life as the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks. He blindsided Luka Doncic, traded him away to the Lakers for stuff. Shout out to Anthony Davis. I don't mean to be dismissive of you, but just for stuff at the end of the day. He keeps talking about defense wins championship, defense wins championship. We believe that we have a good roster. Unfortunately, AD got injured and then Kyrie got injured. Cooper Flag is perfect for his own mantra. Defense wins championships. And I know now Dallas Mavericks fans are going through this whole mental hurdle because some of them denounced their fandom when Luka Doncic got traded. I would assume some of them would be like, actually, it's not that bad around here. Cooper Flag, our new generational talent. We just had one in 2008. We traded him away. Now we get another chance. I'm sure some of those fans will come back. I don't think this winning the lottery and getting Cooper Flag is going to make people automatically fall in love with Nico Harrison again. Because nobody knows if Cooper Flag and Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving will be able to put it together fast enough for them to be a championship team. But it's insane that he traded away Luka. Luka flames out in the playoffs, and then he wins the lottery to get his perfect prospect. It's almost too good to be true. People are already speculating in my mentions. Adam Silver told Nico to trade Luka to a big market. He was going to reward him. I don't think that's how it works, y'all. I know conspiracies are always super fun. But the way the draft lottery works right now, it'll be extremely hard to rig because they have the people that are doing the drawing. Then they have like 15 different sports reporters. And some of those people I know personally. It will be hard to pull the wool over those eyes. But maybe they can't. Maybe they still do. I don't know. But I highly, highly doubt it. So the Dallas Mavericks jump up 10 spots to win the NBA lottery. And now we got to start thinking about what that team could look like. Kyrie Irving is, of course, going to miss a bulk of the season because he tore his Achilles, I'm pretty sure it was. But it changes the dynamic of the Western Conference even more. I wanted, of course, Cooper Flag to be in Chicago, but I really was rooting for him to end up in the Eastern Conference because the Western Conference is so damn crazy. And now when you think about the team that jumped up 6 spots to get the second overall pick, the San Antonio Spurs, this is our prediction. This is everybody's prediction, but it's the most clean version of what could happen. Remember, the San Antonio Spurs have Victor Wembanyama from 2 years ago, Stephon Castle from this year, who just won Rookie of the Year. They traded for De'Aaron Fox, and then they now have the second overall pick. And by all accounts, the second overall pick is Dylan Harper. There's not even a prospect that is even competing with Dylan Harper as of today to be that second overall pick. So we have our guy De'Aaron Fox as our lead point guard, and we have Stephon Castle. And you can have the argument who's a better long-term prospect, Stephon Castle or Dylan Harper. I'm not going to make that argument because I don't know too much about Dylan Harper as of today. That pick is probably going to get moved. This morning, Shams Charania reported this is the first time in Giannis' career that he's even thinking about going to a whole different organization. It's like, oh, that's interesting. You know, some teams that should be interested are the San Antonio Spurs, the Houston Rockets, so on and so forth. And for the Spurs to jump up to number 2, that makes that possibility, like the chances are just higher now. It's just higher. Because the Milwaukee Bucks, if they're going to trade away Giannis, they can try to say all they want, oh, we want players that can help us right now, so on and so forth. If you can't win with Giannis on his roster, you going to get somebody that can do it right now. It's just unlikely. Giannis is one of the 2 to 3 best players in the entire world, right? So in my mind, that's resetting you for a rebuild. And if you can't get your own first-round picks back from the Pelicans, then getting a second overall pick and Dylan Harper is a pretty good consolation prize. Now, there's going to be more. It's not Dylan Harper. It's not Dylan Harper for Giannis, right? You're going to have to give us something. If you are the Milwaukee Bucks, you're probably asking for Castle as well when you're trying to build together Harper and Castle. I don't know how those negotiations are going to go, but it kind of fell perfectly for the Spurs to be buyers. And this is something we see in the NFL quite a bit. And y'all know I'm not an NFL guy, but when you end up drafting a guy at the quarterback position that is really good to start off with, you have a small window before they are extension eligible or they really hit that salary cap or whatever the hell the NFL is. That's what you see, or what you saw with like Mahomes eventually. Right, Mahomes come in season number 2. He's a guy. And it's like, oh, we have a surplus amount of money because we ain't had to pay our quarterback just yet. It's essentially what's going to happen with Washington, right? Washington has Jaden Daniels. They're going to have to go in and buy before Jaden Daniels is super expensive. And I think the same thing can happen with Victor Wembanyama. We already got the De'Aaron Fox move, and now this means that Giannis could be here as well. It was a report that Giannis might be wanting to go to a place with no state sales tax or whatever the hell it was. And I've been to Texas. I've been to Texas a few different times. So it just feels like that trade is going to happen. It's going to be some version of that trade that happened. And if it doesn't, I kind of will be, disappointed. If Giannis goes to the office and say, okay, I do want to be traded and it's not for this pick and to the Spurs, I will be disappointed. For what it's worth, I would rather him stay in Milwaukee. I think it's better for the Eastern Conference. Because if he goes and Cooper Flag is over there, it's what's going to happen. The Boston Celtics are about to start moving some pieces because of some other stuff. So Who's winning the Eastern Conference? Who's the best player in the East? Who are the best 4 players in the East? Compare them to the best 4 players in the West. The best four players in the West, if Giannis requests out, it's going to be Jokic, it's going to be Shea, it's going to be Luka, it's going to be Giannis. Hello? It's insane. 3rd overall pick, 76ers jump up. Pretty interesting stuff for them. I don't know exactly what they do with this pick, right? Of course, you know the top 2 guys are going to be Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper in some version. 3rd overall pick, I've seen Ace Bailey, I've seen VJ, I've seen a couple different guys, and I wonder what the 76ers do with it. I like, people are asking them, do they make a trade with it? And I just don't see that as likely. Maybe possibly, right? Maybe you can get off the Paul George contract and use that pick as a sweetener to go get somebody that you enjoy more or probably going to age better. I have no idea. But there was a time where they were like teetering the tanking thing. It was like, oh, will they be able to keep this pick? And if they don't keep the pick, it's going to OKC. And they jumped up to number 3. So shout out to the 76ers for that, I guess. This was a really bad night for actual tanking. Utah drops 4. Washington drops 4. New Orleans drops 3. Brooklyn drops 3. Toronto drops 2. If you've ever needed an argument for being anti-tank, show them the lottery from tonight. Because those teams, I mean, the Utah Jazz lost 65 games this year to pick 5th. Not much better than that. The Washington Wizards lost 64 games to pick 6th. That's what the flattened odds have done, right? You can lose, and be like the Detroit Pistons, who did end up winning it once, but they were the worst team in basketball, 3 years, and they failed to the 5th pick 2 of those 3 years. That's something. But also, don't be super mediocre where it's like you're a 50 win team, you know what I'm trying to say? 49 win team, because you can lose a coin flip and end up with the 12th pick instead of the 1st pick. I don't know what else there is to really say. Cooper Flagg has the benefit to go to the Dallas Mavericks and not have like the pressure, if you will, to be a 1A guy. Like if he would have went to, Utah or Washington or Brooklyn or one of those type of things. He's going to be playing alongside Kyrie and Anthony Davis eventually, which is going to help his development, I think, go even further. I'm already looking at them defensively and be like, yeah, this is, again, what Nico Harrison was talking about, because I think Cooper Flagg comes in, he's immediately a plus defensive player, higher than a plus defensive player. That's understated. And then him pairing alongside Anthony Davis and some of the other people around him should be pretty interesting stuff. Basketball karma, is it real? It's a topic of conversation. Yeah, I feel for you. I know I complained a lot at the beginning of this video as a Bulls fan, but I feel for Wizards fans. I feel for Jazz fans and everybody else that dropped for real, because you just went through hellish basketball. And I won't say for nothing, right? It's not like you can't draft a star at 6, but it's a lot tougher to draft a star at 6 than it is at 1. I say that.